Welcome to Right Click Academy. My name is Sonia and I'll be your host today. We're very happy to have you attend today's webinar. I just want to give you a little background on how this effort came about. For the past 2 years, we've been offering educational workshops in October during National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. The success of these workshops inspired us to create Right Click Academy during our 15-year milestone anniversary. This quarterly webinar series will focus on educating our business community on trending topics in technology. Today, I am happy to have our marketing intern, Katie, as my co-host. Katie has been instrumental in making this session happen, and we'll hear from her a little bit later. Dan and Sammy could not be here today, but wanted to share this message.
Hi, my name is Dan Taplitz, one of the owners of Right Click Solutions.
And my name is Sammy Taplitz, also owner of Right Click Solutions. Thank you so much for joining us today for the second installment of Right Click Academy. Due to the importance of the necessity to work remotely, today's trending topic in technology focuses on anywhere operations.
With the increased importance of working from anywhere, this presentation will provide an overview of how to do so in a productive, lasting, and secure solution. Don't forget, please stay until the end if possible, as that's when our lucky prize winners will be announced. And without further ado, we're going to begin our presentation hosted by Sonia and Katie. Take it away, ladies.
The theme of our second webinar is Anywhere Operations. We will discuss decisions made in 2020 and how they will affect the future of an organization's remote operations. Today's topic will give you a deeper understanding of the key components that make up a remote infrastructure and the elements that are fundamental to making it efficient and secure. The goal is for you to better comprehend the areas of your remote setup that are working and those that could be enhanced. The trending theme of sustainable remote workforce has prompted many organizations to take a second look at their remote infrastructure. Here's an illustration of what we witnessed in 2020 and how in 2021, our focus should be on revisiting those remote technology choices, composing a more sustainable remote solution. So I know some of you are looking at those pics of the older equipment and thinking, that looks like what you're using right now. And that's okay. In 2020, we found that working from home was essential for many organizations to survive. So those businesses and not-for-profits became operational remotely by using whatever assets that were available to them or they could afford at the time. Many of the remote plans were considered temporary because they didn't realize the longevity of the pandemic. Now, as we emerge from a year of being isolated, it's a good time to rethink those 2020 remote plans and determine if the choices made were optimal for a permanent remote workforce solution. Here's a quote from George Penn from the Gartner Group. Success in a hybrid work environment requires employers to move beyond viewing remote or hybrid environments as temporary or short-term strategy and to treat it as an opportunity. And I think many businesses are ready to make remote work part of their everyday operations because they witness their employees being just as productive and in some cases even more productive than when they're physically in the office. But even if an employee is a good performer in the remote space, if the technology doesn't support them, they may find themselves coming up short on deliverables. An offsite setup can make a tremendous difference in the reliability and efficiency of operating remotely. Right-Click Solutions has developed recommendations to achieve a stable, safe, remote connection to support a distributed staff operating in a virtual work environment. We will impart information on the different ways of working remotely, as well as hardware, software, internet, and security suggestions to make remote workspace secure and effective. But before we discuss the details of a remote workspace, we would like to go over the survey we sent out a couple weeks ago to gauge our audience knowledge of some of these components. I'm going to turn it over to Katie to present the survey results. And just an FYI, as mentioned, Katie is our marketing intern. She's a rising senior at Fordham University, and she's been working with us since February. All yours, Katie.
Thank you, Sonia. This survey was aimed at small businesses and household users. About 700 people participated in the survey. Based on the completed surveys, we found that the participants were knowledgeable about risks associated with phishing and social media programs, as well as the benefits associated with using security measures such as VPNs. On the other hand, we found that there was a lack of knowledge regarding topics like internet terminology, Zoom capabilities, and computer components. Let's do a breakdown of each question and see how the audience performed. So 91% of phishing attacks begin with a phishing email. This is true, and 94% got this correct.
As concluded by PhishMe research, 91% of the time, phishing emails are behind successful cyber attacks. PhishMe came to this conclusion after sending 40 million simulated phishing emails to around 1,000 organizations of all sizes. The common misconception is that because your organization is small or medium-sized, you're not at risk of phishing attacks. Not so. Cyber criminals cast a wide net. Everyone is a target, so everyone should be vigilant.
The acronym MIPS stands for megabytes per second. This is false, and 14% answered correctly.
So the acronym MIPS stands for megabits per second. It's a measure of internet bandwidth. In simple terms, bandwidth is the upload-download rate of your internet connection. Bandwidth is often mistaken for internet speed, which it is actually the volume of information that can be sent over a connection in a measured amount of time. And that measurement is calculated in megabits per second, or MIPS. Why is that important to know? Your internet provider offers plans that guarantee you certain MIPS for upload and download rate. This bandwidth is what you pay for and what you should be getting from your provider. So if you're only getting 25 MIPS and you're subscribed to a 100 over 100 plan, it's like paying for a large pizza and only getting a quarter of it.
Running social media programs on your work computer can make you more vulnerable to phishing. This is true, and 85% answered correctly.
The information sharing nature of social media sites has made them ideal channels for malicious bodies to impersonate or compromise the accounts of reputable organizations. Hackers can then build trust and can con other users into disclosing sensitive information. We recommend you not use your work devices to check personal social media accounts and be trained on how to recognize a phishing email. Remember when you were first learning to drive, you were told to be a defensive driver? The same rule applies for your emails, attachments, and URLs. Always be on the defensive.
RAM gives applications a place to store and access data on a long-term basis. This is false, and 18% got this correct.
So RAM, or random access memory, gives applications a place to store and access data on a short-term basis. It stores the information your computer is actively using so it can be accessed quickly. It's like filing the papers you most often refer to in the front of your file cabinet so you can easily retrieve them. The more programs your system is running, the more RAM you will need. Additionally, the hard drive can be used to hold short-term data known as virtual memory. It acts as an extension of your RAM. A larger, faster hard drive can support more data in virtual memory. Low disk space will often lead to instability and noticeable slowdowns.
The computer's network adapter, router, modem, and quality of the internet service are all essential to the efficiency and stability of your internet access. This is true, and 83% got this correct.
A computer's networking components and internet connection bandwidth affect how fast a computer can access the internet. The remote site and office internet connection play a significant part in the stability of a remote operation. Therefore, the quality of the internet elements at the remote site should be comparable to those used for the office internet. These components together make up the foundation of your connection. If one of them is substandard, the connection will suffer.
Using VPNs make your work from home setup more secure. This is true, and 83% got this correct.
A virtual private network, or VPN, gives you online privacy and anonymity by creating a private network from a public internet connection. VPN services establish secure and encrypted connections to provide privacy when working remotely. When working online with a VPN, it's like you're working in a private tunnel and no one can see what you're doing.
You cannot participate in a Zoom session if you don't have a video camera or monitor with a camera. This is false, and 20% got this correct.
It's not a requirement to have a video camera or monitor with a camera to join a Zoom session. Without a webcam, you will not be able to transfer video, but you will be able to view the other participants, listen to the meeting or webinar audio, view screen sharing, share your screen, participate in breakout rooms, polling, chat, and Q&A. What is required for Zoom? A computer that can run the Zoom software and an internet connection. That said, we find clients like to use the video option when working remotely for more personal connections with staff and clients.
And lastly, at the beginning of the pandemic, phishing attacks skyrocketed by 350%. This is true, and 80% answered correctly.
So yeah, the COVID-19 outbreak greatly increased our usage and reliance on the internet, giving hackers more opportunities to scam people with malware and phishing attacks. According to a report from Google, these nefarious actors proved to be very successful. Google found that from January 2020 to March 2020, phishing websites increased by 350%. In March 2021, the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center released their 2020 Internet Crime Report, which included information from over 790,000 complaints of suspected internet crime, an increase of more than 300,000 complaints from 2019, and a reported losses exceeding $4.2 billion. One of the top 3 crimes reported by victims in 2020 was phishing scams. What can you do about these phishing attacks? First and foremost, get educated on what to look for in a phishing email and practice good cybersecurity. Only open emails from trusted sources. And if you're not sure, make a phone call to confirm before clicking a link or attachment. Pay attention to websites you go to and make sure they're legitimate. Use complex and different passwords across all accounts. Additionally, we highly recommend you implement layers of security solutions for your organization. Use a VPN to keep your information safe and private. Use multi-factor authentication, email security, business continuity and disaster recovery, virus protection, dark web monitoring, and engage in automated cyber threat education. Thank you, Katie, and to all who participated in the survey. All remote setups are unique to an organization. Right-Click Solutions partners with our clients to compose a scalable and adaptable remote infrastructure that allows them to be productive and safe. We find that our clients fall into 2 different ways of remote working, server and cloud, with several variations. I'm going to give you the two basic types of remote infrastructure and to give you a better understanding of how it works. This diagram illustrates one of the more typical configurations our clients have implemented. The remote server solution has an on-site server and firewall that controls security, user accounts, and resources on the network, as well as hosts programs and allows file sharing. Right-click Solutions manages and administers these settings and configurations for many of our clients. Most of our clients had this server infrastructure in place when the pandemic hit. Thus, in order to enable remote users, we utilized a computer that the client had at their remote space, which was typically their personal or home computer. That computer acted as a pass-through to connect to and take over the office computer. Let's take a look at the diagram. For security and privacy, the remote computer first establishes a virtual private network on the office firewall. So if we follow the red line, the remote computer sends the VPN login request through the remote internet connection to the office internet connection and to the firewall, where the user credentials are validated and the VPN is established. Let's take a minute to talk about the firewall. A firewall establishes a barrier that protects the network by filtering traffic and blocking outsiders from gaining unauthorized access to private data on your computer or server. Not only does a firewall block unwanted traffic, it can also help block malicious software from infecting the endpoints on your network. As mentioned, the firewall plays an essential part in protecting the remote user by providing them with a VPN, which allows them to work safely and securely with the same firewall protections they would receive if they were working directly on the network in the office. Once a VPN is established, the remote computer utilizes remote desktop protocol to take over their office computer. So if we follow the yellow line from the remote computer, which sends the RDP login request through the remote internet into the office internet and firewall, and onto the office server where the user credentials are validated and the RDP is established. The end user then has the green light to access everything they would as if they were physically in the office sitting in front of their office computer. As you can see from the green line in the diagram, the remote computer can access his office computer, but not his colleagues' computers. We always recommend that once they are done with their work, the remote user log off their remote session. Some of our clients use web-based programs and store their data in a cloud server. This means they do not own a physical server, but a virtual cloud server that, just like a physical server, still requires right-click to manage the security, user accounts, resources, programs, and file sharing permissions. Data and programs are stored in the cloud, and users can access them from their internet connection using a desktop computer in their remote workspace and one in the office, or they can choose to use a laptop that they bring between each location. Even though there may be an office firewall in place, the web host and web applications provide security and privacy similar to a VPN. Again, so as not to leave any open threads, we always recommend that once they are done with their work, the user logs off of their cloud application. This works well for companies who use programs that are web-based, but for those who use proprietary software that do not have a web version, this may not be the best solution. Keep in mind, there are countless variations of these two infrastructures, and we work closely with our customers to determine their needs and compose a solution that is tailored specifically to their operations. As you can see from the prior diagrams, there are common elements across most remote infrastructures, including the computer, the internet connection, and the security software. Right-click Solutions provides recommendations for making those elements efficient and secure. Keep in mind, these are suggestions that we have determined contribute to a more efficient, stable, and secure remote operation. It doesn't mean that if you don't have one of these recommendations that you'll be unable to work. It just means that if you're having an issue, to resolve it, you may want to start by examining those components that don't fall in line with our recommendations. So let's take a look at the recommendations for the three common components. The computer that you use in your remote site and in the office should have certain hardware specifications. To check the PC hardware specs, click on your Windows Start button, then click on the settings or gear icon. And in the settings menu, click on System. Scroll down and click on About. And on this screen, you should see the specs for your processor, your RAM, and other system info. And if you scroll down a bit, you'll see the Windows version. Great. So once you determine your specs, then you can take a look and see how they are if they are in line with some of our recommendations. We do recommend that you have a port for Ethernet, HDMI, DisplayPort, and of course, USB. If you have these ports, you'll likely not need to purchase additional adapters to convert signals for your peripherals and internet connection. Many of our clients are using computers and laptops that they connect to full-size monitors, sometimes 2 of them, full-size keyboards, and wireless mice, and require all of these ports. For a most stable internet connection, we ask that our clients connect their computer directly to their router using an Ethernet cable. For your processor, we recommend an Intel Core i5 or an AMD Ryzen 5 CPU. If your work involves software that requires a lot of processing power, like huge Excel files, engineering and visualizations, or graphics applications, you might want to upgrade to either an Intel Core i7 or an AMD Ryzen 7. For your monitor, FHD or full high definition, or QHD, quad high definitions, sometimes called 2K. FHD has a resolution of 1920 by 1080 pixels. QHD has a resolution of 2560 by 1440 pixels. Resolution explains how many pixels a display has in width times height format. And the more pixels a display has, the sharper the image quality should be. Therefore, QHD screens are noticeably sharper than FHD. But be aware that with laptops, a QHD screen will eat up more battery than an FHD display. We recommend Windows 10 Pro operating system, which is the most advanced and secure Windows operating system to date, with its universal customized apps, features, and advanced security options for desktops, laptops, and tablets. Remember from our survey, RAM stores the information your computer is actively using, so it can be accessed quickly. 8 GB is typically sufficient, but the more RAM you have, the more information you can store and access quickly. SSD or solid state drive hard drives storage is our recommendation because it is faster, more stable, and durable than the traditional HDD or hard disk drive. HDDs are for those who are not as concerned about speed and need more local storage, since they typically come with at least 1 terabyte worth of storage. With most organizations storing their files in a shared space, like a server or SharePoint, we find the SSD is a better option. We can consult with you on any of these components and help you determine the right fit for your computer specs. The internet is essential, but unfortunately, we have very little control over this component of the infrastructure. But there are some things you should be aware of. Typically, in an office setting, each workstation is connected directly to their Ethernet port, rather than connecting to the internet via Wi-Fi. When working remotely, we also recommend connecting directly to the router with an Ethernet cable, as this is the most stable way of accessing the internet. We can help you determine the correct cable for your remote setup and step you through how to properly connect. The upload and download rates for a speedy connection should never go below 30/30 MIPS. Ideal would be 100/100, or 50/50 is acceptable. You can test the upload and download MIPS by opening a browser. I happen to be using a Chrome incognito window and typing fast.com. This will result in the stats on your internet bandwidth. You should do this not only for your remote internet provider, but as you should also do it for the internet provider in your office, so that you can evaluate if one of the connections are slowing things down. The large bold number in the center represents your download rate. Download rate is most relevant for people who are consuming content on the internet. When you click the show more info button, you will see your upload speed. So in this case, we have 190 download rate and a 32 upload speed. If you suspect the results of this test does not match your internet plan, you should call your internet provider to determine why you're not getting what you're paying for. The bandwidth outlined in your plan entitles you to dedicated bandwidth for your exclusive use. We highly recommend that you read your internet provider bill to make sure you're not paying for extra equipment or connections. We recently had a customer that realized for years they had been paying for 2 internet connections and 2 modems. One of them they never used. Many of us are renting the modem from our internet provider, which entitles us to upgrades. If you have an older modem or suspect that other vendor provided equipment is aging, call your internet provider and ask about getting an upgrade. We already talked about the best practices for being safe online, but now let's take a closer look at the security services we provide. Keep in mind, we have clients who have implemented all of these services and some that have chosen a combination of services. We can consult with you on which layers of security services will provide the best solution for your specific needs. As discussed in the first diagram, using RDP or remote desktop connection, allowing a customer to take over their office computer in combination with a VPN creates a protected connection for clients to work virtually. The VPN encrypts your internet traffic and disguises your online identity. This makes it more difficult for third parties to track your activities online and steal data. We highly recommend the use of antivirus software designed for removal, prevention, and monitoring of viruses, coupled with EDR, or endpoint detection and response. EDR is a cyber technology that uses artificial intelligence to detect and prevent both current and emerging threats. EDR monitors continually and responds to mitigate cyber threats, as well as rolls back devices to their pre-infection state. Multi-factor authentication services strengthens access security to your applications or company data by requiring 2 methods to verify your identity. MFA protects against phishing, social engineering, and password brute force attacks, and secures your logins from attackers exploiting weak or stolen credentials. Recovery options for software as a service, or SaaS, cloud-based applications like Office 365 and G Suite may be incomplete, complicated, time-consuming, or just plain unavailable. It is a common misconception that your email account is being backed up. SaaS Protection Services secures our client's cloud data by making it readily available for the restoration of current files, emails, contacts, and sites in the state they were in before a deletion, infection, or outage. Our comprehensive set of business continuity and disaster recovery tools reduces downtime and data loss, and more importantly, rapidly recovers server data if disaster strikes. It solidifies the last line of defense against ransomware attacks and ensures our customers' data is kept secure. If you can't be without your data and systems, we highly recommend this solution. The primary avenue to deliver malware, ransomware, and other viruses is email. We all have spam filters that come with our email, but this feature often falls short. Email security services minimizes potential threats by quarantining suspicious emails so that they can be thoroughly inspected for legitimacy. Emails, attachments, links, and contents are scanned for the latest email-borne cyber threats. In addition, if you deal with sensitive data, you can take advantage of an encryption option, which ensures the data is masked as it is delivered to your recipients. Similar to personal identity theft protection like a LifeLock, dark web monitoring services alerts us to organizational domain compromises so that we can together take mitigating action to prevent a breach. We understand that the knowledge of a dark web compromise gives our clients a big advantage over being victimized by a cyber criminal. At the time a compromise is detected, preventative action is the best defense to protect your business from cyber threats. Cyber threat education is crucial in determining if a quarantine email, website, or link is genuine, and we highly recommend our customers educate their staff on what to look for. Our dark web monitoring solution has an optional feature that can send simulated phishing emails randomly to staff and report back on their performance. These emails mimic ransomware, malware, phishing, email spoofing, imposter emails, and more. And if your staff falls victim, they are perfectly benign. A click on a link or attachment in a simulation will result in an educational video pointing out the warning signs and red flags. So as it turns out, people are pretty bad about telling the difference between a real website and a fake. To confirm a website is legitimate, go to urlvoid.com and type the website in the space given. So right now I'm just going to type in rightclicksolutions.com, net, sorry. And let's take a look and see if our website has any anything illegitimate going on. So if we scroll down a little bit for rightclicksolutions.llc.net, you'll see there's 0 over 34 blacklists. And if you scroll further, you can see that we check out, there's nothing found on any of these blacklists. So this is a good simple way of determining if a URL link is legitimate or not. So by providing a composable or customized setup, we empower our customers to rearrange, reorient, and enhance their technology as needed, allowing them to be responsive and resilient. We have the expertise to evaluate your current remote setup and make suggestions on how it can be improved for increased productivity and security. Winners will be notified via email for those who completed the survey and attended the live session and scored in our top 2. Thank you all for joining us today. For questions on the services we offer, or if you'd like to consult with us on your current remote setup, give us a call and we can provide more information or schedule a meeting to discuss in more detail. We'll be posting this session in the coming days on the Right Click Academy page on our website, so please tell your friends and colleagues to check it out. On that page, you can view past webinars or find out more information about our next sessions, internet connectivity, and where is your exposure. Thank you again and have a great day.